So we knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. But today, Motley Crue has officially, this time, without speculation, confirmed their reunion. Now, we have a special guest here we're going to get to in just a minute. But I'm going to read the official statement where Motley Crue breaks down their reasons why they decided to finally make a comeback. And then we're going to digest this. I've been right about some things. I'm sure I've been wrong about some things. And we're just going to have a discussion or maybe a debate about this here in a moment. But first, I'm going to read to you the official statement from Motley Crue confirming this comeback, which reads as follows. Almost 6 years after signing a cessation of touring agreement, the contract is off the table because a whole new generation of Crue heads are relentlessly demanding for the band to come back together. Following the huge success of their Netflix biopic, The Dirt, Motley Crue has seen a massive surge in a new audience, and the best known for breaking rules has decided their cessation of touring contract in the Motley Crue fashion by literally blowing it up. There's a video of them basically blowing up this document, like a little trailer thing that they did. After 35 years together on stage and 30 years since the release of Dr. Feelgood, the members of Motley Crue parted ways without speaking to each other after their final show on December 31st, 2015. That's interesting. I want to get to that as well. Vince, Nikki, Mick, and Tommy didn't come together again until 2018 to participate in the making of the Dirt movie, which unexpectedly brought them closer back together, seeing them head back into the recording studio after having gone in their directions for several years. The fuse was lit. Since playing Tommy Lee in The Dirt, so many of my fans have said how they wish they could have seen the real Motley Crue play live, said Colson Baker, a.k.a. Machine Gun Kelly. Shout out to MGK. I never thought I would see the day when this would become a reality, but the fans spoke and Motley Crue listened. The Dirt currently enjoys an audience score of 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm a little biased, but I think it was a great movie, and I think our guest will too. And its massive global success earlier this year saw Motley Crue's popularity rush to new highs, catapulting the band's music back to the top of the worldwide charts, with the younger 18 to 44 demographic now representing 64% of the band's fan base. That's very impressive. Moreover, in the 6 months following the release of The Dirt, Motley Crue has celebrated a meteoric rise of almost 350% increase in streams of their music across all streaming platforms. That's impressive. However, most of the new fans have never seen any of the legendary live shows that Crue heads have relished in for close to 4 decades. Then there's a number you can text. You can see that on their website and information about their comeback as well. I want to invite our special guest in now, which is Anthony Vincent. For those of you that don't know, he's 10-second songs on YouTube, but most importantly, he actually also appeared in that amazing movie, The Dirt, on Netflix as John Corabi, the vocalist who replaced Vince Neil after he departed the band. It's a pivotal moment in the film where he does appear in that movie as John Corabi, and it shows sort of the tumultuous nature of which they were going in. Me and Anthony have been talking about this. Anthony has a different perspective on things, as we often do as friends. It's always nice to have people who have different opinions than you. So thank you for joining me today, Anthony.
Of course, Brian. I'm happy to be here.
It's great.
And can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something? You're really good at this. I mean, you've always been good at this. Being, this kind of personality that can deliver this kind of news. But you're a seasoned now.
Thank you.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, everything that you just did in one take, it would take me 50 takes. I'd be here all day.
Well, part of it for me is I just have to not be so hard on myself. And it's not like this every day. It's because you're here where the pressure is on. It's because you're sitting there through that whole thing that I made a point of it. It's not like that every day. In fact, most of the time it's not. But
sometimes you need to be in an environment where you don't where you take yourself out of that whole overthinking space.
Yeah, and you know me personally. It's not always easy.
Of course, I mean,
Okay, so I got to say first and foremost that reading that statement. Those of you who've been watching the channel know I've been kind of an ass about this whole Motley Crue thing. I have different opinions because sort of the whole Steel Panther thing rubbed me the wrong way. I thought they were pretty shitty to Steel Panther, but I do respect their work. I'm a fan of their music. I'm not always a fan of some of the ways they've carried themselves, but that's just my personal opinion. But I've got to say, after reading that statement, and that's the first time I've read it when I was reading it to you guys, they do make some interesting points in why it does make sense. A 350% increase in streams on the back of that movie it's pretty interesting. But in my opinion, I think that Vince Neil, in his current form, is not stage ready for a Motley Crue comeback. Every other member of the band, I'm going to say this, is stage ready. Today, they can go out there and put on a set.
He needs to do what Axl Rose did many years ago. Remember all the memes that was being passed around
memes
about Axl Rose? Yeah, Axl Rose was overweight and he was out of shape, and there was all this footage being passed around of how he sounded live, and it wasn't his strongest. That's exactly what happened with Vince Neil recently, especially after the movie came out. And I'm assuming that he's already getting in shape as we speak. I
want to disagree with you there, and here's why. He's been on tour up until like the last week. He's been playing shows. I remember seeing footage of him like last week, and he still looks and performs the same right now. Now, maybe this deal, because last week, Vince Neil comes out, and again, I want to apologize. I've been calling him Vince Meal, and people have been saying that. I'm trying to be funny. I'm a heavy-set guy. I think it's funny, but I don't want, like, I don't hate the guy.
I think that makes me laugh because of just how perfect it sounds. Because and like you said, I can't get away with something like that because I'm a skinny bastard.
And I'm fat.
Yeah,
admit it.
Hey, you're more. Listen, you're doing the best you can.
That's right. I'm doing it
right now. Right now, you're making the effort.
I'm trying.
You know, you're eating this. What were you eating before?
I was eating. It's an unwich, which is like lettuce and then meat. Sounds really stupid.
So there you go.
I'm doing the best.
Due diligence. You have the White Claw. You know.
Well, so you think that Vince Neil is gonna hit the gym?
I don't know if he's going to, but I think he really needs to because everything, all of his issues that and what he went viral for. This is not me picking on him. This is just what's common knowledge. Yeah. What he went viral for with those bad performances, where people were ripping him. You know, I watched it and I'm just thinking to myself, all of this could be prevented. Yeah. All of this could still be reversed. You could, it's a matter of you have to, first of all, intense cardio. You have to drop a lot of that weight. Yeah. You have to, get in a better eating regimen and exercise regimen. That's number one. So health is number one. Physical is number one. Then the other thing is you have to revisit vocal training. You have to maybe even go through a whole new type of training or course or take it from the basics, the fundamentals, build yourself back up, maybe relearn how to sing. Yeah. I mean, I've done it myself. Yeah. I've gone back and traced my steps and listened more closely to the very basic fundamentals even recently to kind of just keep myself.
Talk about giving somebody credit. For those of you guys who don't know, Anthony Vincent, you are a great, not to make this like a circle jerk here, but you're a great singer in your own right. You're an amazing singer. You're not just great. And so you certainly have the right to chime in on that. The question is, you have the ability to say, okay, I want to improve myself. I want to get better. In this realm of what I do, I try to make things better, make improvements. The question is, does the vocal, and it remains to be seen, does the vocalist of one of the most prolific bands, and Motley Crue is one of the most prolific bands in rock, let's not get it twisted, does he have the capacity or the ego to say, okay, I need to admit that I am capable of getting better because he is, and will he do it?
I don't know. I mean, Axl Rose did it because Axl Rose was down the same path.
Yeah.
And he came back with that Guns N' Roses reunion. And actually, he came back when he filled in for AC/DC. And everyone was like, whoa, he's back. He's got his voice back, his range back, and all that. He redeemed himself. Yeah. And look, it's up to him. It's up to because it's not impossible. It's not impossible for him to go and reclaim what he had, or at least get himself in a way better position now, where it just seems like he's even, interested in it anymore. I don't know. I'll put it this way. I look at vocalists like Miles Kennedy. He's a good example. I've seen a lot of interviews of him. I've seen a lot of interviews where he talks about, how exercise and eating, it all plays into it. And he was, he very much into the whole physical health thing as well as the healthy vocal technique thing. So, so there are definitely artists that no matter how much success that they see in music, they still hold it. It's still very important for them to keep their craft intact and sharp and ready to go. Because I just think that, look, I don't know if it were me, that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, listen, man, all these people talking shit about me. No, I got to redeem myself. Yeah. I got to fucking,
Yeah, and he totally could. And that's the thing, is that I want to know if so it doesn't seem like their relationship, which is complicated at best, it doesn't seem like the relationship between the members of Motley Crue is one where your other bandmates can come through. And sorry, I'm having some webcam things. It was actually my sound. But continuing on, I wonder if they have the type of relationship where like a Tommy Lee could come in and say, Vince, you got to make some changes, because there was that report from Radar Online, which Vince, for his part, with all due respect, has come out and said it was bullshit. But he also said he hadn't spoken to the other members of the band since March, just last week. There's no way this all came together in a week. There's no way. So I don't buy that. But whether or not there was a $150 million deal on the table that said he had to lose 40 pounds, that's another story. But
yeah. Well, listen, we will give you $150 million, but listen, Vince Neil has got to lose 50 pounds.
Yeah. Well, they might have the perspective that you have, though, where this all goes away if you drop the weight. I don't know how much Live Nation was involved with Guns N' Roses, but if they were, Axl Rose, and I don't think he was contractually obligated to do this, I think he wanted to do this. He did what he had to do, and it's not easy. It ain't easy to do what I did.
All I'll say is that no, you did it.
Yeah, I did it.
You're in shape. Listen, you keep this. Look, the people that could be criticized are the ones that just let go and they just don't care. They're like, forget about it.
Well,
but
I would like to know, with this Guns N' Roses thing, that's rumored to be, I guess, or maybe it's announced now, but they're saying that it's going to be Poison and Def Leppard on the tour, a reunited Poison.
Wait, you said Guns N' Roses?
Sorry.
Or Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue, the Motley Crue tour. It's rumored to be with Def Leppard and Poison, which is a mega bill. It's a mega bill. Def Leppard they have a massive draw to this day, and Def Leppard puts on amazing shows to this day. Poison, I know that, what's his face, the singer of Poison, I'm having a brain lapse right now.
Bret Michaels?
Yeah, Bret Michaels also still to this day puts on a great show. He's in great shape. And so I think that what a shame it's going to be.
Who's headlining?
It's Crue. Has to be. Crue is gargantuan. They're massive, and so I would imagine they wouldn't get back together to be direct support for Def Leppard, even though maybe had they kept going, had they not stopped, and had the dirt never come out, they very well could have dropped down and not done that. The other question I have is, how soon do they start talking? Eventually they're going to do another farewell tour. How soon? Motley Crue, they're going to have to do another one. At this point, they're coming back. What are they going to do? Just fade into the darkness? Or is this at what point do they start talking about?
They don't have to do another farewell tour.
You don't think they'll play a final show?
No, I think this is like a one-off thing, maybe. I don't know.
They blew up the contract that said they can't tour anymore. And nowhere in the statement, and I could be wrong, nowhere in the statement does it say that this is a one-off deal. But again, they haven't announced the tour, to be fair.
All I'm saying is, if they need John Corabi to come back on tour, they know who to call.
You know what? So you stand ready at this point.
I'm ready.
The funny thing is you are ready. You could sing those songs.
You know what's funny? Hypothetically, and this would never happen, but if Motley Crue was like, listen, Vince Neil can't do this. He can't. Would you please fill in?
Here's what I want to know, actually.
Anthony, would you fill in?
Comment down below, because the main point of contention here seems to be Vince Neil. But I'm going to be honest with you. I would certainly, because I'm going to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I've watched them play as a band. I'm talking about the instrument perspective. The members of Motley Crue all playing instruments are tight. They play great. They play flawlessly. They're amazing. Right now, the vocals are the problem. Would you be down to see Motley Crue without Vince Neil? Comment down below, baby. It's an official poll. Somebody start the thread. And Anthony, you say that, for the record, you work out every day, right?
I work out 5 days a week.
Ooh, nice.
I work out 5 days a week, intense cardio, always on that treadmill, baby.
Oh yeah, you're in shape.
I'm always on the treadmill. 5:30 in the morning. Now I've been going 5:30 in the morning at the gym, and then I do my vocal warm ups afterwards when I get to the studio every morning. So listen, I'm in shape, and I'll take it on. So I will take on.
You also know every Motley Crue song.
I don't know every Motley Crue song, but I mean,
you could learn them quick. And then also you were in the dirt, so there's a nexus there.
Exactly. I was in the dirt. Listen,
that's kind of a cool story.
You know what's funny though? I thinking about it. Like, you always think about this kind of thing when you're a vocalist, like especially a vocalist on the internet, because occasionally you do get contacted for potential opportunities. Yeah. It's happened to me. It happens to everyone. And I always think, like, what is one opportunity that I might give just a chance and just go with it. There are certain opportunities I don't think I could do. Like, I would never, like, if I were ever approached to be a singer for Linkin Park, I'd turn it down.
That's a hard singing, bro.
I wouldn't do it. Like, or Soundgarden wouldn't do it, like, and it's not like because, like, screw you guys.
Yeah, of course.
It's out of respect. It's out of respect, and that's you don't want to. I don't know. There's fans involved, and it's just really it's not something I would do. Yeah. But in this particular circumstance, if hypothetically it was brought up,
I love it.
I'd be like, all right,
I'll do it.
I'll give it a shot. Why not?
Because currently, I don't want to say the bar is low, but the bar is pretty low right now. I'm talking again. I hope, and I believe, and I know it's possible, and I know he can do it. I hope that today my man has a trainer who's pushing him and is getting him in shape, because he can get in shape, but you gotta switch to White Claw, bro. If he's drinking a lot or something like that, I'm not here to judge anybody. Lord knows I'm not perfect, but
no, I think for him, he needs to. If he's doing anything like drinking or anything, he needs to stop that. He needs to stop. I don't know if he's smoking. He needs to get completely clean. Yeah. He has to get completely in shape. Yeah. Maybe even, I don't know.
We're not implying he has a problem here. We're talking about from like a diet perspective. If he does. Yeah, if he did. Yeah, if he does. Exactly.
So he would need that. He would need that. He would need, like I said, a cardio at least 5 days a week, and. I don't know who his vocal coach is, but he needs a good one. He needs someone that's going to really.
He needs Ken Tamplin, right?
Off. Yeah, he needs Ken.
That's
Tamplin.
Right, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
He is awesome.
Ken's my coach. Yeah. He would do good with Ken. Yeah. I think that if he has to work at it every day, like he would have to. I actually think that that's probably what he's going to do.
There's got to be a lot of pressure, but here's why I feel like it might not happen. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think it may not happen because Vince Neil, as soon as the Crue was over and they had a freaking movie come out, what did he do? He went solo and ran around covering his own songs, or you can't cover your own songs, but playing his own songs with a backup band. If I was another member, that would piss me off. I'd be like, this dude, man, freaking. Because every time he does that, every time they go see Vince Neil with these rando bros, no disrespect to them, because they're a tight band, his solo band is awesome. But every time they're not the Crue, every time you go play with them, you take that down a notch. And so for me, I'd be like, you put Motley Crue on the shelf and it's done. But he went right around and just kept doing it, and he didn't do it for that. So I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
I could definitely see your point with that, because I would never be able to do that. Like, it just feels weird to me. Mm-hmm. But then again, there's so many moving parts in this business, and whoever's his as far as people and who they're managed by and who they're being consulted by, and like, hey, take this deal, and what deals are happening for this to happen, and this and that. Like, you don't even know. Sometimes I don't want to say that people reunite with all these new bands reuniting and stuff, or they're doing it for the money, but money definitely talks, especially
they're getting paid.
When it's proven.
They're getting
especially
paid.
When it's proven to be extremely.
They are getting paid I don't know what it is, but they're getting paid a gross amount of money. And I don't mean I'm happy for them. But what do you touched on a little bit with all these bands reuniting? Man, it's not a good thing long term. You've got all these bands coming in my opinion, that are overpopulating the market, so to speak, and it's I don't think it's a good thing that the biggest tours of the year are going to be from bands that are 30, 40 years ago, when we don't have staying power. Even with like Metallica, who's one of my all-time favorite bands, and still put on an amazing show. And actually, James Hetfield is a prime example of somebody who has worked on their voice. You can tell that he realized at some point he had to change his vocals to make it sustainable. He found a way to sing, and he found a very palatable way to sing. I still love his voice. You and I obviously agree on that, as somebody who got to go to the legendary first S&M concerts. Very jelly of that. But I think there are people that are doing good jobs at this, and I'm not biased, but I don't have a business relationship with them, but I think the festivals that are happening, the Danny Wimmer Presents folks do an amazing job of putting a bill together that has a mixture of younger artists, and then typically, though, your headliners are going to, how do you compete with Metallica? You don't. They're one of the biggest. They're all, that makes sense to me. But, a Motley Crue, this being put together, is there anybody who could come out and headline?
Hold on. I think I got to sneeze. Hold on.
I'm not cutting that out. That's too good.
That was one hell of a sneeze.
It was good. Sorry, you were saying.
I feel like, don't take this the wrong way, but a lot of people who say that rock is dead, that whole argument, this is the reason why. It's because it's like, rock is dead. Look at all these artists that are getting together and, playing to tens of thousands of people, like Slipknot getting together and playing. This is a band that's been around for forever. My Chemical Romance getting back together, and they're going to be playing to sold out crowds. Guns N' Roses is reunited. It's like, look, rock is still alive. Yeah, but the problem is that these are all legacy acts that aren't going to be around forever, and I don't really see there's a lot of promising bands that will even come close to the kind of impact these bands made when the genre was newer, or the genre had a place to go somewhere new and exciting.
I think you get what I mean? Yeah, to a certain, I agree with about half of the bands you mentioned. I think with My Chemical Romance and Slipknot, they are at least 20 years younger than 25 years younger than these other bands. I think they're actually still in their natural course of life for a band, where obviously neither one of them are new bands, but both of them, I know from Slipknot, obviously puts on an amazing show. I have no doubt that My Chemical Romance is going to put on a great show. I know they're going to put on a great show. I'm not even that big of a My Chemical Romance fan, but if you look at their age, what are they, 40s? Slipknot, same deal. That's decent to me.
Those are of the younger bands that I'm referring to, but I'm just saying that there's no one, like right now, as we speak. I feel like there's nobody who is in that genre or in rock and metal that are at the level of My Chemical Romance back in 2006.
I agree with you on that wholeheartedly.
Right now,
I agree with you on that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or at the level of Slipknot back in 2001, or even 2000,
especially
like
2006. Actually, interestingly enough, I know this from talking to Corey. Slipknot is actually today, if you can fact, Slipknot is bigger than they've ever been right now on a global scale. Statistically speaking, today, Slipknot, but I think that if you factor in some of the smarter plays they're doing, like they're diversifying, much like Metallica. I think everybody's following in Metallica, seeing what they're doing with the genius. They're making quality products. Their Internight Pilsner is delicious. I've had it. They have a blackened whiskey is amazing. Slipknot is sort of following their lead a little bit and making their own original good products. I've tasted their number 9 whiskey, which is also amazing. I've tested all this shit. Okay. But I think from that standpoint, they're doing things right, but you're right. But there is one band, Anthony, there is one band to save them all that is rising up the ranks, and their name is Greta Van Fleet, baby. They are. They are. Do we?
Oh boy,
they are. So I mean, say what you want about
Are
them.
they?
I mean, I don't know about a sales number or a streaming number, but for God's sakes, they're direct support for Metallica.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that. But dude, honestly, I remember there were articles. I mean, 2 years ago or a year ago. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago? You couldn't stop seeing people talk about them.
Yeah.
And now I don't really see a lot of people talk about them at all.
I think they're off album cycle right now. So I think that is part of it. But yeah, I think when they don't have I just think that was a smart deal where you have people from multi-generation girls, and then you got the older folks, your Uncle Joe, who's going to come, man, you check out this badass band. You know, you got that from all angles, and it's an interesting.
Well, that's the thing about That's the thing about rock right now. It is, it's definitely become a novelty of itself.
But you know what though? There are people who are helping,
it's still,
and
there's still a audience for it. It's a much more of a family crowd. I've seen it.
True.
It's not like a. And this is fine. I'm just saying what it has turned into. It's not, it doesn't have the same danger that it used to many, many years ago when it first started. And you had, the danger is transferred to what the kids are listening to now. Like it's in all of the whatever SoundCloud rap is turning into. Whatever SoundCloud rap is turning into.
I'm glad
right
you
now.
said. I love that you said it that way, because I was just thinking. I was like, I think he's going to say SoundCloud rap, but it's not SoundCloud rap anymore because it's so goddamn mainstream. Like, it's just modern hip hop.
There are a lot of even to this day, I have friends that introduce me to new hip hop artists that will say, "Yo, listen to this song," and you hear the song and the actual recording is produced and he's just like rapping, and he goes, "Now watch this live footage." The same rapper is like screaming his head off. There's mosh pits, stage divers, all this stuff. So these kids, by the way, and well, let me just say this too. These kids who are at these rap concerts right now, they are this close to becoming metalheads. They don't even realize it. They're this close.
That is very interesting.
I saw the footage that Marilyn Manson. It was a Marilyn Manson show. He was performing with I forget
Travis
which
Scott.
rap
Travis
artist.
Scott. Yeah, he played. That was so sick.
And he was playing Sweet Dreams. And I saw, like, there was that mosh pit that broke out, all these kids. It reminded me of being in high school when we would have high school battle of the bands and a metal band would come up and everybody starts moshing and stuff, because it's just like, it was a youthful mosh pit. It was a youthful, I saw, you see kids of all kinds that are moshing to this shit. And I'm like, these kids, they're like this close to becoming metalheads.
And so I think that,
it's the spirit is still alive somewhere.
Well, there are people that are pushing it and are exposing the younger people. I cannot put it into words because I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing, and I love him for it. I don't know this guy, but I just can't sing his praises enough. Post Malone and everything he does, he tries to take his audience and show them what he was raised on. And just today, it was announced at the AMAs. First of all, he put Ozzy Osbourne on one of the biggest songs of the year. He, being Post Malone, he put a guitar solo in one of the biggest hip-hop records of the year with Ozzy Osbourne on it. And he's taking Ozzy Osbourne and playing at the AMAs with him in the near future, which is one of the biggest televised events of the year. He is doing literally everything he can other than releasing a metal album to expose people to rock.
And plus his producers producing
the
latest
Ozzy's record, which I'm excited about. I'm also nervous about, but I will say
I like the first track.
Under the Graveyard is sick. I love it. It sounds like the guitars are MIDI, but like it sounds like they're like programmed.
It's modern,
but I don't give a shit.
Production.
You know what? Whatever. Exactly. Let's not overthink it.
But the thing is, though, what I was afraid of was that it was going to be too modern production, where Ozzy's voice was extremely tuned,
and
like it's in what do you call it? Like his voice is extremely tuned in the Post Malone track.
Yeah,
but
Take What You Want From Me or whatever it's called.
That was fine. I didn't mind that, but I was pleased to hear that. The production reminded me of more of a modern version of like something you'd hear off Osmosis.
Yeah.
And I was pleased with that.
Yeah.
With that first single.
Just I gotta say, like for Ozzy in this record, hearing that, even though Zakk Wylde's not involved, which he has said he's not involved, I would have liked to have seen them bring him in because it's freaking Zakk Wylde. At this point, Zakk Wylde is a legend too. Like how do you not bring him in? But whatever. I know there's no hard feelings there, obviously. Knowing how Zakk Wylde is, he's not going to be pissed about it. It just is. I'm doing this record, and this guy was available, and I like the producer. But I am excited to hear it, and that's the type of guy. Like Ozzy, to me, is on another tier from Motley Crue. But, just in closing, and I'm going to give you the last word here, I think that if Motley Crue gets Vince Neil, and if Vince Neil himself, who has the full potential to do this, is able to get in shape, work out, this is going to be a great thing. Because what it's going to do is give people the opportunity to get what they did not get on the farewell tour. They didn't get it. I've seen it. There was a movie about it. It was not impressive from a vocal standpoint. Production was incredible. Band was incredible. Top of their game.
They do owe it to themselves to give a real final good last impression.
Yeah. And I think that if it all hinges on Vince or you, Anthony, to come in. You're available. You're not saying you're waiting around for their calls, but you are available, baby.
Even if Vince has a couple of off nights and he's like, listen, I need a break, you can call me in for a couple of dates. I'll do it.
Literally. And so, and the funny thing is we're kind of joking, but we're kind of not. We're just calling. What you want me to flash your cell number on the screen? We've got it. Just reach out. Just email them.
They know where to find me.
Okay. Then good. That's great. That's a very egotistical thing to say, but I'll take your word for it.
No, just trust me.
Okay. You were in their movie. I guess that is literally true.
They'll call me. If they need me, they'll call me.
Good. That's good. And I hope that happens. All right. Final thoughts, Anthony, on the Motley Crue reunion. What do you think?
Let's do it!
Yes, let's do it. Are you getting tickets?
I don't. Listen. Ghost was down the street like last year, and I didn't even go.
Oh, you're a hermit like me.
Well, I'm seeing Tool tomorrow. I'm seeing Tool tomorrow at Barclays in Brooklyn.
That's dope.
So I'm excited about. A friend of mine, but that's only because a friend of mine, she was like, oh, she's gonna go by herself, and she's driving. I'm like, all right, I'll come.
Whatever.
She's driving. I'm like, all right, I'll tag along.
Sure.
Why not?
Are you going to any of these festivals? Do you go to any of these big festivals that happen? I will tell you, because you get everything in one shot. So I'm telling you, you need to go to one of these damn festivals. Metallica 2 nights, dude.
The last festival I went to was Ozfest in 2004.
Well, this is different because it's like they have I don't know how, but they have a way bigger budget. So you get Metallica for 2 nights with 2 different sets, baby.
You know, that's another thing with Metallica. Why is it that they announced that James was going into rehab, and then 2 weeks later they're like, "Oh, festival tour." It's like, wait, you're putting a time limit on James' recovery? What happened? No, like I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm genuinely curious. What happened?
I think that it had to have been a split-second decision. I think that what happened is
maybe James is back already. Maybe he was back already. Realized that it wasn't that bad. He just needed a little tune-up, or
I don't know. I think I watched this interview with Joe Rogan, and he was pretty forthcoming about it. I'm sure we're going to get the full story on it. I think that he talked about it wasn't just substance for him. He talked about how it was sort of like ego-driven and things like that, and he didn't like how it was. I think he was talking about like how it was with his relationship and stuff too. Maybe this was, he talked about how he needed to reset himself as a person. Like you said, and we don't mean this in a joking way, but like sometimes you might just need a little tune up. Either way, I'm freaking elated that he did it. I'm sure you agree. I could not say better things about how great it is that anybody, doesn't matter who you are, is like, yo, I need some help. There's never anything wrong with that. And even if you're in the biggest band in the world, support him 100,000,000%. Could have been a tune-up. We'll find out what it is, but I know that with these sort of deals, that
it's
Metallica,
not really our business.
Yeah, it's not
really
our business, but
either.
James is the type of guy. Metallica is, believe it or not, they're transparent with their fans, man. They're pretty good with letting people know what's up. Like dude, we would have never known that he went to rehab if they didn't tell us. They had no reason to tell us, but they did, because I say what you want about Metallica. They do value their relationship with their fans.
Oh, I love Metallica. Yeah. I love James.
Yeah, I know it's up there.
They're still my, they've been my favorite band since I was a kid. Yeah. And they're still up there because
Now, would you stand in for Metallica as well? If they need, I'm just kidding.
How do you even do that? Like,
yeah, that's a band you can't do that. You can't stand in for James. That's impossible. You can't do that.
It's just the thing, because anybody can sing James.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not even a matter of like with somebody like Vince Neil or Motley Crue. That's a certain vocal style that not everybody can sing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like you need to be a little further along in your in the vocal ability.
Yeah.
To be able to, like, you couldn't get James Hetfield to sing high notes like that, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he has such a distinct voice.
James is more of a personality thing. James is more of like you can't replace the core members of Metallica.
No, you can't. You can't replace. Exactly. I couldn't agree with that more. James is such a enigmatic frontman that he can't be duplicated. Often replicated, never duplicated.
It's just not one of those. It's just one of those bands. It's too strong of. It's the same thing with like Pantera. They were all four strong personalities. Everyone was equally strong. So you couldn't replace them. Yeah. You know, and that's why when it fell apart, it fell apart.
Pretty soon, I think, though, we will be talking about a Pantera-esque tour with Zakk Wylde. I smell that coming down the rails. Zach wants it to happen, and it sounds like
bad idea.
What's his face to happen? Well, we're gonna save that for another day because I have some. I have some perspectives on that.
I could chime in on that one.
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna take you up on that. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you guys for joining us, and if you stuck around to the end, my God, you had nothing better to do tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe. Click that notification button so you don't miss out on Breaking Hard Rock and updates, and hopefully more discussions like this in the future. And let us know what you think down in the comments. Are you gonna go and see this Motley Crue reunion tour and agree or disagree with us? And who is the better in shape? Me with my unwitch or Anthony with his bullshit cardio? I don't buy it. I'm just kidding. All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all very soon.